Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who is here to reassure you that you're not gay if you missed me, because I missed you, and I gotta rationalize my own feelings here. So I'm not gay, and you're not gay, but we are both here to talk about UFC 324. I'm gonna talk, you're gonna listen, and it's gonna be very fucking heterosexual. UFC 320 fuck. Gaethje versus Pimblett. We lost Kayla and Amanda Nunes last week, which fucking devastated me. Really, as far as female fights go, I think I was looking forward to that more than anything. Maybe Cyborg Amanda Nunes more than anything, but this was one of the best fights ever booked, and it all went to shit as things do. But yeah, let's get back to having momentum. UFC 324 and all that energy I started off with. We're not gay. Let's do it. Okay, opening up the card, we have Adam Fugitt taking on Ty Cole Miller, otherwise known as Ty Miller, and not to be confused with Cole Miller. My prediction for this fight, I'm going to go with Ty Miller winning. I'm going to go with him winning by TKO. And I'm not too confident in that prediction. And I'll tell you, I see upside with Adam Fugitt here in this matchup. I think Adam Fugitt, at least there's not a lot of downside like there has been with some of his losses. I think athletically, Ty Cole Miller doesn't bring the same problems, the athletic and physical problems of the guys that have beaten Adam Fugitt. And I think Adam Fugitt's going to be much more of a viable athlete here. He's going to move well, and I think he's still got a 37-year-old chin that's been knocked out a few times. But if his chin doesn't fail him, I think Adam Fugitt's very much going to be in this fight. I think he's going to be much more in the fight on the feet, even though Ty Cole Miller is a taller guy and he does like to be the rangier guy once he settles into the fight. Sometimes he uses his height more than his range. But Adam Fugitt is a good, tricky southpaw. I liked his win over Josh Quinlan, a good 3-round battle where he looked pretty resourceful there. But I also think Adam Fugitt is the more willing grappler, and his grappling is largely been shut down in the UFC. But I do think he could mix it up here against a tall, skinnier, less athletic fighter and find more success. So this is all just my way of saying I might bet on Adam Fugitt. But I'm going with Ty Cole Miller as my official prediction. I haven't seen all of his fights. First of all, that's another reason I'll bet against him. I haven't. He's only got 6 fights, which is a concern on its own. Even though he's 6-0, so that's pretty good. But he has not been tested too much. The few real tests that I feel like he's had are the fights that I've seen. His win over Jimmy Drago, which was a great performance from him. Unanimous decision. I thought he won all 3 rounds. And a good 3-round battle against current UFC fighter Eric Nolan, where he won by split decision. Another one where I thought he definitely won, but that was still a close, good, competitive fight against a really good fighter in Eric Nolan. But I do think, despite some good opposition there and some fights that have a lot of value, he's still only 6-0. He's 25 years old. I know he hasn't seen everything. And Adam Fugitt, despite having no momentum and a bunch of knockout losses that have compounded here at age 37, he's still the guy that took over the fight with Josh Quinlan. And I thought looked really good back in whatever that was, 2024 maybe, but 2 fights ago. So that guy could definitely be the first guy to tame Ty Cole Miller. And again, I think if he was to win, it would be while mixing it up, hitting some takedowns. But Ty Cole Miller, I see he's got knockouts, and I've seen one of them here as a pro. He's got 2 knockouts, but also in these fights he's had against Jimmy Drago and Eric Nolan, those are tough guys, and he looked pretty damn good and also more dangerous than he appears to be. And I think with Adam Fugitt's durability issues, again, against much more dangerous, proven guys and better athletes and whatever. But still, Ty Cole Miller, with all of his upside, I'm picking him to win. You put a gun to my head, who's going to win? Ty Cole Miller wins. And then with that same gun to my head, how's he win? Despite only having 2 TKOs or knockouts, I'm going with him winning by finish. So yeah, that's the prediction. I think he could do it with one shot, or he could beat Adam Fugitt up. He could stuff takedowns and beat him up and get him out of there down the stretch. Because again, Ty Cole Miller, he's not the most imposing athlete, fast twitch type of shit. But there's enough doubt with Adam Fugitt for me to say that's the most likely outcome. And there's enough upside with his odds for me to say, please forgive me if I go against all the horseshit I just said over the past 4.5 minutes, and I bet on Adam Fugitt. Next up, we have Ricky Turcios taking on Cameron Smotherman. My prediction for this fight is Cameron Smotherman wins, and I'm going to go with him winning by decision. I think Ricky Turcios is going to be shut down physically here. I think Cameron Smotherman's going to be the better boxer. Ricky Turcios is a good all-around fighter, and he's funky, but he lacks the pop, I think, to go through Cameron Smotherman's chin, which has been a concern. He's been knocked out twice pretty quickly as my voice gives out and my dick falls on the floor. But I think Cameron Smotherman, despite being 1-2 in the UFC, I like the way he's looked in general. Thought he outlasted Ricky Simone. I thought he looked good, really good against Jake Hadley. Not so much against Circuit City. But I think Cameron Smotherman here is going to be dictating things. And I think he's going to be too physical to be moved around easily and taken down by Ricky Turcios. Of course, I think Ricky is the more willing grappler and the guy that's going to be trying to mix it up more. And he's a wily, scrambly guy. But I do think Cameron on the feet shuts down the scrambliness and shuts down his striking as well. So Cameron Smotherman by slow and steady decision is the pick. And now the over-under is available. I like the over at minus 215. I don't love the line, but I do like it to go over, I should say. But I bet on Cameron Smotherman already because I'm a degenerate and I couldn't wait for the other lines. But in general, I'll wait for everything and I won't bet with too much confidence. I'll try to cover my prediction. Maybe I'll look into the Ricky Turcios point spread because I do think Ricky is very durable. He's been knocked out once against Mana Martinez in the past. Mana's a fucking incredibly dangerous guy. But Cameron Smotherman, I think. Okay, next up we have Josh Hokit taking on Denzel Freeman. My prediction here has to be Hokit wins by decision. I've been thinking about picking Denzel Freeman and certainly betting on him, and I'm going to wait for everything, but I have to pick Hokit. I just think Hokit's going to be the one leading the dance, a little more active, and there's no major doubts in either guy, really. I think Denzel Freeman's a good, well-rounded fighter. I think he can give Josh Hokit a hell of a fight, and he can definitely beat him. But I have to pick Hokit here because he's answered every question. He's 7-0. He's steamrolled most of his opponents, but he had this one fight against Spencer Smith in Bellator to start his career off. A nice round 3 arm triangle choke. It's good to see him close a show with almost a minute left. And it wasn't the easiest fight. It wasn't like he was ragdolling him. He hit some takedowns in every round, I think. But he wasn't exactly having his way on the feet. And then he had this other one in round 2 on the Contender Series against Guillermo Uriel, whatever. I don't know. My fucking voice is sore. I shouldn't commit to these fucking names anyway. But and then he had this fight against Max Jimenez, if you can call it that, where he steamrolled him in a minute. Josh Hokit, he's a really good athlete, wrestler, football player, and excellent trash talker. I think he's Colby Covington. And I don't think Denzel Freeman is quite Kamaru Usman, but he's a good wrestler himself. And again, a really well-rounded guy. I think he can perhaps neutralize Josh Hokit and give him a hell of a fight and certainly win it. But my pick has to be Josh Hokit winning by decision. My bet doesn't have to be him, though. I'm going to wait for everything. Certainly the point spread. I think Hokit wins by getting Denzel down, but doing a lot more riding. I don't think he goes through him on the ground. I think Denzel, again, looks to have a good skill set. I believe he's going to be able to defend against Josh Hokit, but he's going to be stuck with Hokit riding him and slowing the fight down. And I think in general being a little more active. But Denzel Freeman, he's comfortable on the back foot. He's a good striker. He's got some snappy kicks. He's not the athlete that Josh Hokit is, I believe. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck happened. Hopefully this one records. I'm here again to talk about Alexander Hernandez versus Michael Johnson. My prediction here is Michael Johnson wins, and I'm going to go with him winning by decision. I think his hands are going to be the story of this fight. I envision this one being largely contested on the feet. It'd be interesting to see either guy mix it up. And historically, Michael Johnson's been more vulnerable on the ground. But I think on the feet, without anybody getting a finish, I envision Michael Johnson's hands being the faster hands, and I think they score more points. I think Alexander Hernandez is a little healthier. Each guy's been finished a few times, 3 times, I believe, by TKO. Michael Johnson's had his lights shut out a little more, and he's older. He's 39 years old. He's been around the block, but I still think Michael Johnson in general is still tough. I think he's still healthy as well. And I think Michael Johnson is still fast. That's one thing I can guarantee. So I'm going to go with him keeping his chin safe. I've already bet on him, so I fucking really need his chin to come through for me. And I think on the feet, even though Alexander Hernandez is very much in the points battle, again, I think Johnson is a faster guy. Why couldn't I fucking wait till I'm done recording to snack on some blueberries? I don't fucking know. All right. Fuck you. Next up, we have Alex Perez versus Charles Johnson. My prediction for this fight is Charles Johnson wins, and I'm going to go with him winning by round 3 submission. That's right. I'm a jerk off. I like reaching for some funky predictions every now and then. And really, don't get me wrong, it wouldn't surprise me if he won and it wasn't a submission. But that's just my way of saying I will be reaching for submission props here. It's always been an issue for Alex Perez. He's been submittable. You can tell I really know how to break down fights. He's submittable. But it is what it is. Sometimes it's a weakness. It hits the surface enough and it's a trait. And Charles Johnson, he's always been crafty, not the biggest submission artist, but he's a guy with long arms. He's crafty, excellent cardio. And I think if he gets Alex Perez tired, he's lacing up a Darce or an Anaconda or something like that. But in general, Charles Johnson, what makes him my pick here is not his submission prowess, it's his cardio. I think he's the best round 3 fighter. Maybe Joshua Van, if he didn't get knocked out, would have given him a hell of a round 3. And I also think, if permitted, Charles Johnson would be a hell of a round 4 and a round 5 fighter. And I thought he would have been given that shot after his last win over Lone Kavanaugh. But here, he's in a 3-round fight against a warhorse and Alex Perez. And Alex Perez is very damn tough himself. Not an easy guy to knock out at all. Joseph Benavidez TKO'd him, and Tyra got him out of there with an injury last year. That doesn't count. But I think Charles Johnson takes over. I think he's the better man, the more active man down the stretch. I think Alex Perez is really dangerous, and I think he's really aggressive. So I don't envision him trying to ride Charles Johnson. I think if he gets him down, he can try to beat him up. And I do think he's best off trying to get Charles Johnson down. But I really think when you're fighting Charles Johnson, you have to fight for the long haul. You have to fight for the grind. And I think Alex Perez is not going to be geared towards riding and grinding. Next up, we have Nikita Krylov taking on Modestas Bukauskas. My prediction here is Krylov wins, and I'm going to go with him winning by TKO in round 2. I have my doubts with Nikita Krylov. He's got 2 knockout losses, not counting his TKO loss to Soa Palele. But he's got 2 knockout losses, and they're both in his last 2 fights, both a few months apart, which may not have been wise. One thing leads to another. But they were both knockout losses. So the profile has changed for Nikita Krylov. Whereas before he fought Dominic Reyes, I was talking about how he still had a rock-solid chin and the Soa Palele fight wasn't a strike against it. Now he's got 2 major strikes against him. He's still only 33 years old. He's a young guy, theoretically in his prime. And yeah, we'll wait to see. But I've got my doubts with him. And Modestas Bukauskas is a big, strong, physical light heavyweight. He may not be as dangerous as Dominic Reyes and Bogdan Guskov, but he's dangerous enough. Whereas if the chin is even worse now, Nikita Krylov, there's trouble ahead. But I've got Krylov winning. Krylov's an incredibly dangerous guy every which way. I think he'd be the more likely guy to mix things up with Modestas Bukauskas. Even though Modestas is, again, a big, strong guy, it's difficult to go through him on the ground. And on the feet, Nikita Krylov, I think he's ferocious and dangerous. That shit's never gone away. His power's never gone away, unless he's really gun shy. But I think I've always considered him better than Modestas Bukauskas. And here, I'm not going to be fooled by trends. I'm not going to lose sight of what I always believed, which is that Nikita Krylov is better than Modestas Bukauskas. I know you're sitting there thinking, what, you were thinking about this fight like 5 years ago? No, I wasn't. But I've assessed each guy every step of the way. And yeah, I think this is a levels thing. That's the basis for the prediction here is, this wouldn't make sense here. I've got Krylov being a level or 2 above Modestas Bukauskas, and I think he finds a way to win. He's the more versatile guy, but he's dangerous as fuck, and I've got his danger closing the show, as Bukauskas has been finished a few times himself, 4 times, I believe. So despite the recent knockout losses for Krylov, I've got him getting a knockout victory. As I try to pull up the fucking odds. I like Krylov. He's an underdog. As I wait for the fucking odds here. Krylov's an underdog, plus 124 now. 125. And the over-under set at 1.5 rounds. Both guys have been vulnerable. Both guys are dangerous. There's no trusting when this one will end. I do expect it to end, though. But yeah, I'd probably be more comfortable playing a shittier line at 2. Next up, we have Andre Pulyaev taking on Abega Gautier. My prediction here, Abega Gautier wins. I'm going to go with him winning by first round knockout in about 3 minutes. Having said that, probably not even going to try to cover that prediction with a bet. As you see here, hopefully you see this shit. He's minus 850 right now. I think things are tightening up. And Andre Pulyaev is plus 575. The under is set at 1.5 rounds, 2-1 odds, minus 215 for it to go under. I mean, that's what I expect. But this is one where I make peace with wasting some money on Andre Pulyaev. His money line is enticing enough, but I feel like I'm going to go reaching for some sprinkles with him winning down the stretch. Andre Pulyaev, he's 10-3. 6 of his wins come by TKO. That's probably how he would get it done, and or decision, of course. Abega Gautier's lost once, and it's by decision. I'll get to that in a minute. Pulaev's only been finished once. This guy, Daniel got him out of there with a TKO in round 4 2 years ago. He was nearly finished against Christian Leroy Duncan. I feel like if CLD had a few more seconds, he could have gotten it done. But in general, He's a healthy guy, 28 years old, 5 or so years older than Teba Bega Gautier, if you trust his birth certificate. He's 23 years old, Teba Bega Gautier, 6'4". He's a physical, athletic fucking tank, and he's exceptionally dangerous. 8 of his 9 wins come by knockout. He's shown it in the UFC, and I just have to go with the upside for my prediction. And even though it's not like Pulyaev is much more seasoned, he's only got a few more fights, but he's got a few more fights. He's got more fight time, a more valuable experience, in my opinion, and also he is 28. He's not. Nobody would call him a kid. But Ateba Bega Gautier, his one loss was 3 years ago, 4 years ago, to this guy, Glenn Williams. It was a close fight, split decision. He lost. I mean, you'd have to attribute it to fatigue, even though it's not like he was gasping for air. So it was a good learning lesson early on, a good lesson to learn. Would have been nicer if he got the victory. But still, Teba Bega Gautier, he's only had a few fights from which he could really learn something. That was one of them. And here he's surging in the UFC. Whatever he is already. He's 3-0 with one in the Contender Series. The Contender Series fight was one of the good fights he had against Yura Naito. He had a tough first round where he was controlled and then took over, reclaimed control of the fight in round 2 and got him out of there. But yeah, my pick is Gautier. I've got him winning by knockout. I've got it looking like his other victories. But I see enough upside with Andre Pulyaev where I will comfortably waste some fucking money on. All right, I'm going to try. Okay, next up we have Umar Nurmagomedov versus Deiveson Figueiredo. This is another example of I'm picking this guy, but I'm betting on that guy. Picking Umar, I got him winning by decision. Already bet on Deiveson. He's plus 850. I'd bet on him at those odds against Ngannou. And here he is against a much more manageable fighter in bantamweight Umar Nurmagomedov. I have to bet on him. I'm picking Umar to win because Umar is an incredibly well-rounded guy. I have a ton of respect for this guy's skills in every direction, and I have a ton of respect for his traits as a fighter. I know Merab out-traded him, and that's his one loss, but that was still a very close fight. And of course, that's Merab, who's got some incredible traits. But here, Deiveson Figueiredo, I think, despite being an explosive fireball and still with above average power and danger, he is still the recent flyweight. And I think Umar Nurmagomedov is a big, strong bantamweight. And I think he's a guy that can make the most of his physicality. Umar, if he gets a hold of Deiveson, he's got the technique to control him. And he's also probably got some considerable strength advantage. Of course, they're fighters. They're all strong. But Deiveson Figueiredo, where his value comes in is, of course, he is a fireball. He's really difficult to catch and control in the first place. On the feet, he's really explosive and moves well. I think Umar moves really well, and Umar's got such a good kicking game that I do envision him winning the battle there anyway. Don't get me wrong. But Deiveson is going to be a hard guy to clip, and he's really durable and really fast, and that power definitely translates. I know he hasn't knocked anybody out as a bantamweight, but the guy's always been visibly powerful. So I think there's definitely room for him to make this an interesting fight on the feet. I really think Deiveson will definitely be competitive in every moment on the feet. But my pick has to be Umar. He's got too much going for him. He seems to have every trait in the book as well. I know Merab out-traded him, but that's Merab. Umar's still really well-rounded, exceptional in a lot of ways, especially on the ground. He is the best grappler there. And I think Deiveson Figueiredo, without any sort of potential Hail Mary. It's not like Umar Nurmagomedov's ever been knocked out, even though he's been knocked down and whatever. I think Deiveson his best course for victory, best course of victory is scratching and clawing for a decision and doing it mostly on the feet. So that's what I envision for him having success. I think it's a small path to victory. I think Umar Magomedov's got a lot more paths to victory, and I've got Umar winning. So Umar by decision is the pick. I don't think I'm going to try to cover the prop with any sort of bet unless it's the Davis and Figueiredo point spread. But yeah, I will wait for everything and see where I can waste my money. No doubt, just reflective of the money. Next up, we have Arnold Allen versus Jean Silva. My prediction for this fight is Jean Silva wins, and I'm going to go with him winning by decision. And I'm not too confident in that prediction. I'm definitely not confident in the method of victory, just based on the fact that Jean Silva is incredibly dangerous, really dangerous. Arnold Allen's never been finished, but he's been fucked up, and Jean Silva can fuck you up. But I do pick him to win by decision because, yeah, Arnold Allen's never been finished. And I do think Arnold Allen is going to give him problems. Largely, I'm expecting this fight to be fought on the feet. And I think Arnold Allen is the faster guy. I think he's going to bring better boxing and good pressure. But I think Jean Silva's strikes will mean a little more. I think he's good on the back foot and exceptionally dangerous and crafty, tricky. And I just envision him winning with bigger moments. Can't say what the numbers will look like, but I think Jean Silva does more damage, gets whatever 10-8 moments there are, and certainly has a better chance of getting a finish despite being finished himself a few months ago, where Diego Lopez fucked him up with a nice spinning back elbow after a wild fight back and forth. But here, I don't think Arnold Allen is going to find success slowing this fight down and being the more physical fighter. And I think on the feet, even though he's the faster fighter, I think speeding things up will only get Jean Silva more dangerous. And again, I think Jean Silva will win with bigger moments. As for the bet, there is no bet. Jean Silva by decision is 2-1, which is nice for my pick, but getting me to actually commit to that is a different thing altogether. It's what I pick, but the prop itself can easily be negated by anything on Arnold Allen's side or Jean Silva being the dangerous guy we all know he is and being the first guy to finish Arnold Allen. Arnold Allen, the point spread intrigues me because, again, it covers everything, and I think he'll be competitive in the decision fight. I envision Jean Silva winning, but that's another thing that can easily be offset by the danger of Jean Silva. So, in general, I'm sitting this one out unless I'm having a bad night at this point. Next up, we have Natalia Silva versus Rose Namajunas. My prediction for this fight is Rose Namajunas wins, and I'm going to go with her winning by decision. And you could tell I was picking her because I put more of an emphasis on her name. And I've got her winning because I think Rose is in her prime despite not passing every test as of late. Manon Fior, Erin Blanchfield. And I think Natalia Silva, I mean, I see what everyone else sees. Her ceiling looks like fucking goat. She can definitely be a champion. She just handled recent champion Alexa Grasso very easily. And I wouldn't be surprised if I'm very wrong about this fight and she beats Rose Namajunas, which if I'm wrong, I've got her winning by decision. I don't think she finishes Rose. But I've got Rose winning. And it's not just I've got Rose here. I'm going with Rose. I like Rose to win this fight. I think Rose Namajunas is still in her prime. I think she's got hand speed and takedowns, and I think she can crowd those kicks of Natalia Silva. Not that the hand speed of Natalia isn't a problem, because it really is, but I think Natalia can get caught mixing it up, and Rose can confuse her and frustrate her, beat her to the punch, and hit those takedowns. Rose She's definitely not the most beastly wrestler, but she is a good athlete, and she's definitely an above average wrestler who can hit takedowns on anyone. She mixes it up very well, and she's got that timing, that GSP thing about her, where she can definitely change things up very quickly, and I think she's going to need to do that against Natalia Silva. I lost my voice and my balls years ago. But I've got Rose winning. I think Rose Namajunas is as durable as ever. She's been knocked out before against Jessica Andrade, getting slammed. That shouldn't happen here. Should never happen again. And Natalia Silva's been finished a bunch as well, but that's back when she was 11 years old. Don't think I don't know that. Her only the most recent loss of hers is still like 10 years ago, 8, 9 years ago, and it's to Marina Rodriguez. So very forgivable. And it was a tough loss, but a decision loss where she did stand tall in the end. But Rose, she's still in her prime, early 30s. And I think Rose is going to show her that next level, which is only one level above Natalia Silva and it's champion. But Rose has been there. And I've got her winning this fight, doing what very few others could do. And that's frustrating Natalia Silva, dictating the fight and taking away her kicks and all the rest of it. Rose Namajunas by decision is the pick. And the bet is Rose Namajunas. The money line decision is at plus 450. That's the better line and far and away that's the best prop. Far and away the most likely outcome if she wins. But I do think Rose Namajunas by the money line is the safer play. Rose has had 2 knockouts ever, but they are when the bright lights were on her, both in championship fights. She won the title against Joanna and Weili Zhang with first round knockouts. And Rose is still a very dangerous submission artist. Always has been since the very beginning. Doesn't really hit the surface in every fight, but it's still there. So I'm happy with Rose at 3-1 odds, and I'll be really happy when she proves me right by winning. Okay, next up we have Waldo Cortes-Acosta taking on Derek Lewis. My prediction for this fight is Waldo Cortes-Acosta wins, and I'm going to go with him winning by TKO in round 2. I'm a big Derek Lewis fan, and I want him to win this fight. And I think Derek Lewis looks great physically, and I still think Derek Lewis is as dangerous as all fuck. But I have to favor Waldo here. Waldo, he's tough as all fuck himself. He's only been beaten twice in MMA, both by decision. In a close fight, I thought, against Sergey Pavlovich, even though I thought he lost, I thought he stood his ground there against a guy that's really dangerous and powerful, perhaps even more powerful than Derek Lewis. Maybe not overhand for overhand, but that was a good test for his chin, and he stood tall in defeat. And against Marcus Rogerio de Lima, he lost more of an MMA fight, a well-rounded MMA loss there. But I think his chin still fares well. And I'm aware he was knocked out as a boxer. I've seen one of them where he was just knocked out. And I believe there was another one too that I've seen where it wasn't as clear of a knockout. But either way, just know I've seen it and I know it can happen. And certainly it can happen against Derek Lewis. I don't need to see fucking some boxing fight go wrong to know that Derek Lewis could knock him out. And I think if Lewis does knock him out, it's pretty quickly. I think the ball's going to get rolling here pretty quickly. I know Waldo Cortes-Acosta, despite some recent finishes, I'd say still the majority of his UFC career has been decisions, but I think this one is going to be action packed. I think it's going to get going pretty quickly, and I've got it ending via finish one way or the other. I'm going with a round 2 TKO for Waldo Cortes-Acosta, and maybe I'll go reaching for props, but my big bet right now is under 2.5 rounds, minus 195. That's what I like. It's inside 2-1. plus money for under 1.5 rounds. And I do think in general it ends in the first half of the fight. But I still just like this one to end via finish. And I'll favor the knockout over the submission. But yeah, submission, I suppose there's 1% of that. But I do think Waldo Cortes-Acosta has to be favored here. He's dangerous. He's durable. He's got really good hands. And I think Derek Lewis, despite looking great physically and being better on the ground, Derek Lewis is a guy that's always been overlooked on the ground. And if he mixes it up, he's good at advancing. He's heavy on top. And he's got knockout power from the full mount, just like he does standing. But I think Waldo is a big guy, a bigger guy. I think he's going to be difficult for Derek Lewis to physically bully. And I think Waldo on the feet is just going to be a little quicker, a little sharper with his hands. And I've got that being the story of this fight in the end. But Derek Lewis, I think he's going to bring the fight right away, give himself a shot. He knows he's got that fucking danger that very few bring. And I think more than anything, I'm sure of this fight just ending. And that's why, again, I like under 2.5 rounds. Next up, in the co-main event, we have Song Yadong taking on Sean O'Malley. My prediction here has to be Sean O'Malley wins, and I've got him winning by decision. I think that's definitely the most likely outcome, and I am semi-confident in that prediction. And that means something because I'm not a confident guy. But yeah, I've got Sean O'Malley winning by being the better jouster and outside striker. I do think Song Yadong has tippy top power as far as bantamweights go. Tippy top power? Who the fuck talks like this? I don't know. But I do think Song Yadong has power and good kicks as well, but he's not fighting Ricky Simone here in Sean O'Malley. I don't think his kicks are going to be that effective. I don't think they're going to be the story of the fight. But I do think Song should be gearing himself towards hunting the legs and the body and using his power to slow Sean down. Even though, of course, if Song Yadong lands one shot right on the chin, he can turn the fight around, if not end it. But even with that happening, I still envision Sean O'Malley racking up the small moments. Sean has good pop in his punches as well. He's got a big, long, tall frame, and he may not be the hardest overhand right type of puncher, but he's got good pop, and I think he can keep Song Yadong at bay with his deceptive power combined with all of his movement and his reach and height and the rest of it. But yeah, I've got Sean O'Malley winning a jousting battle, being on his bike, staying at a firefight range, and keeping his legs safe from being chopped down here against Song Yadong as well. Sean O'Malley by decision is the pick, and I'm debating about whether or not to bet on it. I haven't bet on him at all yet. He's 2-1 as a favorite. His decision line is plus money at plus 110. And of course, Song Yadong's point spread is what's intrigued me as well. I like the longer shit. The more slack, the better. He's at plus 7.5 points. He's minus 235. I believe it's minus 190 for plus 5.5 points. I just, this is one where I'm going to sit back and wait. And if the time comes and I'm looking to make a play, especially with any sort of real conviction, it'll be something safe like that. But no doubt the pick far and away, more likely than anything else, I'd say, is O'Malley by decision. And that's plus money. So, remains to be seen. But as of now, I'm staying away from this. And I do like, again, O'Malley by decision as my voice runs away. And in the main event of the evening, we have Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett for the UFC interim hardcore championship or whatever it is. My prediction for the fight, I've got Paddy the Baddy Pimblett winning, and I'm going to go with him winning by round 3 submission. I'd love to be wrong, by the way. Not that I'm one of these guys that hates Paddy, but I do like Gaethje. I'm one of the many that likes Gaethje, and I'd like to see him get the W. Plus, I've been telling people at work that I'm really rooting for Gaethje, and I've got him winning. They know I'm the MMA guy. They ask me, hey, who do you got? I'm like, I got Gaethje. They don't know I do this channel, by the way, because I'm ashamed of it, I guess. I don't know. But I'm ashamed of most things I do. But yeah, they don't know I do this channel, so they're not going to hear about this. As far as they know, I've got Gaethje winning. And it's because I felt pressure to be like the old school MMA fan. They know I'm an old school guy. I could talk about pride and whatever. So I had to go, Gaethje, Gaethje. But that's not how I feel. I've got Paddy. I got Paddy winning. Paddy's young. He's got a stupid haircut. A lot of the cool older MMA fans probably hate him. I don't. I hate that fucking queer dance he does. But I've got Paddy winning this fight. I think Gaethje can still give him a fucking. I think Gaethje can give anybody trouble on the feet. Gaethje's going to get in his face and make him pay for every second they're standing. Slamming kicks into his shins and slamming fists into his face and trying to corner him and thwart his takedown just by pressuring him and getting in his face. Paddy, I think he's going to be trying to win the leg kick battle, and he's going to be the more rangy outside guy. And I think Paddy is really skilled. He's really skilled there. But I do think without takedowns, I'd favor Gaethje. I just think Gaethje's pressure and danger and the rest of it would be winning this fight. Even though Paddy's never been knocked out, Gaethje's older and he was knocked dead last April. One of the most famous knockouts ever. And of course, both guys have been fucked up in the past from strikes without being knocked out. But Gaethje a lot more. He's got a lot more mileage on him, and he's been in countless wars, going back to the PFL or the WSOF, if you want to be whatever about it. But on the ground, Gaethje's always been limited. I know he's a wrestler first and foremost, but let's face it, Paddy the Baddy is going to be the wrestler here, and he's certainly going to be the jiu-jitsu guy. And I know Paddy was submitted in training in their little round robin thing last month, but Paddy is he's a force on the ground, and I think he's going to be too much for Gaethje on the ground. I do pick him to win by submission. I think that's far and away. Well, I can't say far and away. I think that's more likely than anything else. But Paddy, as he showed against Chandler, he can maul guys on the ground. I think he is distinctly better than Justin, and he's got excellent control. And whether it's by submission or TKO, I think he'll overwhelm Gaethje on the ground. And I'm harping on all that method of victory shit because I'm not committed to Paddy by submission, which is plus 130, wherever it is. I don't know. But I like Paddy here by finish. TKO or submission, that's minus 145. I don't think Paddy, I think this one ends via finish regardless of who wins. But I do favor Paddy where I like his props. On the flip side, I think Justin Gaethje, if he was to win, it's got to go down the one way, and it's a TKO. Paddy's got a good chin on him. I would envision it being more of a breakdown where Gaethje just beats him down, and I would favor it happening in the second half of the fight, rounds 3, 4, and 5. And I also threw a sprinkle on round 2. But I do think Paddy wins this fight, though. I think he keeps himself safe. I think he's too rangy and too agile for Justin Gaethje to really win with that pressure heavy style. Gaethje doesn't always fight pressure heavy. I know he got away from that, but I think here that's his course to victory. Getting in his face, trying to do what he was doing to Khabib. I thought he did a great job against Khabib. Not that he had too much success, but I thought that's what you have to do. Get him on the back foot, get in his face, mix it up, and of course, be the dangerous, powerful guy that you are. And I think Gaethje's going to be looking to do that to Paddy, but Paddy's going to have an answer. Outside striking and above average takedowns with far above average grappling. So Paddy is the pick. I like Paddy's Finish line again, TKO and submission. I do think submission is more likely, but as we saw with Chandler, TKO is always possible, and Paddy's got a good amount of TKOs. And like I said, on the flip side, I like Gaethje winning down the stretch by TKO or down the stretch flat as I played it. But you can get it whatever minus plus 1,500 from round 2 all the way up to plus 4,000 round 5. Just sprinkles for me because I do envision Gaethje victory being a methodical breakdown on the feet, a TKO, where he's too much for him. Either way, I've got this fight ending via finish, and the pick again is Paddy the Baddy Pimblett becomes the new interim BMF hardcore champion and gets to challenge Ilya Taporia or Triple H or whoever has the hardcore championship. I don't know why I had that ended on the pro wrestling note, but I'm done. My voice gave up 5 fights ago. Enjoy the UFC. I'm so fucking glad it's back. I'll see you guys soon. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit, and check out my other videos. All right.